From Mason's Edition, over the hill, Grahamstown, Baintown, from everywhere they're coming. They're the people's choice, the Saxon Superstars.
a short race, finish it.
We know you're watching. We can feel you. We know that you are afraid. Afraid of us. You're afraid of change. You're afraid of what happens when the Bahamian people find out that you've lied to them. I'm going to hang up this phone, and we are going to tell them everything. We are going to tell them who they are and what you took from them. Change is not coming. Change is here.
Fellow Bahamians, you have been lied to. You have been told that you are poor, that you have no wealth and no resources. You have been told that your natural resources are worth nothing. You've been told that even if you had natural resources that only the wealthy could afford to mine and process it. While you were struggling to survive, they were secretly shipping billions of tons of your natural resources out of the country. It's time to learn the truth. It's time to end this myth. There is a dangerous cohort called the oligarchs. They have been using your beloved politicians as puppets to do their bidding. to distract you with rallies, handouts and jobs while they ran off with your riches. So the question is, how do you get your resources out of the hands of the oligarchs and into the hands of the Bahamian people? It's easier than you think. Today, I have come as the bearer of good news. And that is that change is not coming, change is here.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
Crowd gathered outside of the Central Police Station, including attorney Maria Daxon. Daxon telling Our News that the government of the Bahamas has started a fight that they intend to complete.
What I'm going to tell this government, only they can be seen as a bunch of lawsuits.
As for that immigration document, Daxon explains the goal of the COI.
They came here illegally, and all of a sudden, they want rights in our country like all organic Bahamians. Unacceptable.
Now, during the recess of the proceedings in the House, the group returned to Parliament where Daxon attempted to deliver the document to Prime Minister Philip Davis. Here's his response. Reporting for Our News.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous, and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything. You name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
I'm sorry. I think we should have sound now. Yes, good. We should have sound now. We're so sorry about that. Technical difficulties. Thank you. All right. You should be able to hear me now. All right. Thank you, engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, the sound is back. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, I just have to say and make it clear that I have to give some disclaimers during the show because of the pettiness of totalitarian governments, or I should say authoritarian governments, because of their lack of professionalism, because of their pettiness, because of their reactions and their intent to control power. I have to give disclaimers. And so my disclaimer is this, that nothing I say to you during this program is meant to encourage you one way or another, to influence your belief one way or another. Nothing I say is to affect you in any way. All right. We do not want to convince you that the police is right and we are wrong, the government is right or we are wrong. We're not here to prejudice you as it relates to this court case. But the news media has covered this. The police have even responded, and we have a right to speak. Okay? We have a right to speak. And brave response is, and that's it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, but we have a right in the interest of the public to teach you what is your rights in these circumstances. And so we're going to let you learn your rights as it relates to these situations. And today you're going to learn. So going to get this set up for you. But some interesting things I want you to see here. I was shocked at the response of many persons, especially persons who call themselves activists. Persons who say that they are for fighting for the Bahamian people. I was shocked beyond belief at the responses of some people. Some people who say that they believe in the Constitution and they believe in the rule of law. And they said that our behavior was out of order. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. That is fine. But I was shocked at the fact that they would speak out before finding out the facts. I was shocked that the Deputy Commissioner of Police would speak out and give his opinion, making it seem like persons were guilty before they had a chance to have a fair trial. That would seem that if a powerful person who's acting as commissioner of police at the time would make such a statement, that it would prejudice the case. And so I don't think that anyone who is in that position should be making those kinds of comments about a case, about how Bahamians should behave, or whether Bahamians were right or wrong, or the fact that you should not disrespect the police. That was shocking to me, and I will deal with that shortly. There are other persons who are supposed to be activists who talked about the rule of law and how you should behave. Well, we're going to deal with the law and how persons should behave, not in reference to this case, but how you should behave and how the police should behave as it relates to any situation where assembly and where there is the freedom of assembly. I'm going to play something for you that I prepared some time ago. I guess this was in anticipation. And this is something I produced probably 2 years ago now that teaches you what unlawful assembly is and what are your rights. And I think that you should watch this with all eagerness, and you should watch this with all your mights. The police do not have the right to tell you what to do outside of the law. The police has no power outside of the law. No one in any nation has any power outside of the law. Whether it's the prime minister, the police, or anyone else. The police are creatures of instructions. They do what they are asked to do. If someone walks up to you in the middle of the street and slaps you in your face in front of the police has no right to arrest them until you make an official complaint. The police cannot act on their own. And so we're going to get to all that. We are ruled by the rule of law. And this is what said activists should have considered. Said activists should have considered that we are under the rule of law. And the rule of law is to govern, not the people. The rule of law is to govern the authorities. It's to govern the police. It's to govern the government. It's to govern the courts. It says that these persons don't rule. The law rules. And the police must act within the law. And we get all that straight for you today. All right? I saw, and what encourages me more than anything else is all of the police who have called me, all of the police who have reached out. That has encouraged me beyond measure. The amount of police officers, and I'm talking about hundreds of police officers who reached out because they saw exactly what happened. I want to thank you all for taking the time to reach out. Thank you for that. Despite their position of being a police officer, despite them not being able to speak out publicly, the hundreds of police officers who reached out and expressed that we saw what happened. I want to thank you for reaching out. I want to thank you. It touched me. Police officers know how they get those calls to do things that is outside of the law, but they feel that they have to do it. They feel that they have to do it. I just want to say to every police officer, like I said to everyone who did call me, you never have to do anything that's outside of the law, ever. There's no circumstance when anyone can instruct you to go to someone's house. If you're instructed to go to someone's house and take all of the furniture out of that person's house and put it in the neighbor's house, that's an unlawful instruction. You don't know whose furniture that is. You don't have a complaint from a person. No one can instruct you to do anything. If someone instructs you to go to someone's house and just stand up in their bathroom, go in their bathroom and just stand up, or go in their bedroom and just stand up there. If they tell you, ask you why you're there, don't answer them. Just go there and stand in their bedroom. That is an unlawful order. You don't have to follow those instructions. If someone instructs you to go on the bus stop and tell the person sitting on the bus stop to stand up and sit down 30 times, you don't have to follow those instructions. You only have to follow lawful instructions. And I learned that in the police force. Another thing I learned in the police force was you're not allowed to touch someone unless you are going to arrest them. That's touch, push, hit in any way. You're not allowed to physically interact with anyone unless you are arresting them. That's the first thing I learned in police training college. You don't have the right to, if you see someone sitting on the wall, to push them off the wall. If you see someone standing on some stairs and you don't want them there, to push them off the stairs. It's either you instruct them to come up the stairs because you have a lawful reason to instruct them to do so, and if they fail to follow your instructions, you arrest them. But you have no right to push someone off the stairs. I'm speaking generally. Remember, there was a time when police officers would pull you over in traffic because you have tints in your car. They would pull you over, and then they would make you scrape the tints of your car right there in traffic. Remember that? They would make you find something and scrape. Whether you damage your window or not, it didn't matter. They would make you stand right there in traffic and scrape the tints off your car. Remember those days? It wasn't until someone challenged it. They have a right to give you a ticket. They don't have a right to tell you to scrape the tints off your car. The police can only give you lawful orders. If you don't want the tints on my car, give me a ticket and let me go. You don't have the right to tell me to scrape my tints off my car. And so for those sheep who think that you must follow any order that the police gives you, you are the reason we are still in the state that we are in this country, that we are still in the old Bahamas. But we are going to fight back. It was very curious that we were going to the House of Assembly to present a bill with reference to immigration in this country, and the police officer sent this time seemed to be a majority of Haitian descent. And you can call them Haitian police officers, although there's no such thing as a Haitian police officer in the Bahamas. But for your understanding and for the purpose of this exercise, I will call them Haitian police officers. You had one fellow in khaki called Pierre, who was in trouble before and removed from the force and somehow brought back. Pierre, a Haitian police officer, for the purpose of this exercise. The other police standing up there with me was Senatus in the blue. I know him to be a good officer, but he was standing up there with me. That's the one who was standing up. I was talking to him when the assault took place. Senatus is a Haitian police officer. I've never seen him at any of anything that we've had before. The other one who was there, his nationality is questioned, and he is Styles, the one who pushed me. I am told that he is also a Haitian police officer. I'm not saying this to say that there's nothing wrong with being a Haitian police officer or being of Haitian descent. I'm just saying in the public interest that it was very curious that this time, Styles have been doing protests for a very long time. Styles has never been in charge. He's been there. He was there the last time because he was assaulting me then too. He was pushing me in my back on that day. But there was another Bahamian officer in charge at that time. And he kept everything under control, kept everything the way it needed to be. He did not escalate it. And then there was an officer who was in the car, in the situation with Cara. And I'm going to play that for you today. Again, not one to show things one way or another. It was played on the news. But just to show it to you so that you can see. I don't care whether you think that we are guilty or innocent, we are doing what is right. There's even a time to break laws, like Martin Luther King. There's a time to break laws. There are just laws and there are unjust laws. Like Mahatma Gandhi said, I'm not here to convince anyone that I am innocent or guilty. That's not what this is about. Disclaimer. Mahatma Gandhi knew he was guilty when he went to the ocean to make salt because they made a law saying that only a foreigner can make salt in your country. This isn't just starting with the Bahamas. No, this has been around a long time, where oppressors put these laws in place. But I understood when the oppressors did it. I don't understand why is it that we have Bahamian governance for over 50 years. We have Bahamian black governance, and we are still being oppressed in our country. We still have to fight for our rights in this country. I'll let you hear what Brave Davis had to say about that, and it's going to be shocking, to say the least. We still fighting over 50 years later. We still fighting. All our life we had to fight. And they still treat us like dirt and treat us like dogs. But this fight ain't stopping now. I can let y'all see who those officers are, so that y'all can make a decision on how you treat them. You see, when an officer takes an order from a corrupt politician and he then goes and abuses Bahamians, assaults them, kick them, stomp them, then you as a people have to determine how you respond to them, because they still have to live in this society. They still have to come to your restaurant. They have to come to your movie theater. You have to make kung salad for them. You have to put gas in their car. You have to fix their car. You determine how you are going to accept that any officers who mistreat any Bahamians. And I'm not saying this in reference to us, because we're not the only persons who have made these kinds of complaints. You read between the lines. We have to stand up, Bahamas. And anyone who mistreats Bahamians is an enemy of Bahamians. And it's time to stand up, and it's time to wake up. There are treasonous traitors walking amongst us, pretending to be us. But they are not us, and they don't care about us. They care about everyone else. Right is right, and wrong is wrong. If I am wrong, you tell me I am wrong. But if I am right, you don't stand up for me. You stand up for our Constitution. Because a wrong committed against any Bahamian by an authority is a wrong committed against every Bahamian. And that is why when Arinthia Komalafi was arrested, I stood with her. It didn't matter that she was a political opponent. I went there and I stood with her. I fought with her. I spoke to the police. I told them the law, and I told them they better let her go today. And I fought for her. And for all the others who were arrested, the other 10 that was arrested with her. We spent our money and brought water and snacks out there for all of the persons who were not protesting, but who were out there with them. We went inside and made sure that they had food. We fed them. We made sure that they had food inside there. That had nothing to do with politics. I don't have to oppose you because you're a political opponent. If you are right, I will stand with you. And I've proven this. Some things are above politics. This is about Bahamians, man. And when they arrested those Bahamians, I stood with them, despite politics. And I fought for them as hard as I fought for anyone else ever. I fought for them. We're going to see some things today, and you're going to come to your own conclusion. You're going to see some things. You're going to come to your own conclusion. I want you to know your rights. Same about us. I want you to know your rights because I rights to be trampled on. Okay? I'm going to show you a couple of things first. And then after that, I'm going to show you a video about your rights. And after that, I'm going to show you these police officers who ran the car in the car. Now, the question is, did they run the car in the car? A lot of people, political trolls mostly, started spreading false information on social media that Kara jumped in front of a car. And they only showed the video from this point to the car pushing back on her. That's all they showed. They showed a clip. And then they put out there that she had jumped in front of a car, which was obviously not true. The media covered this, everyone covered this. And this is what they showed, her in front of the car. But look at where the wheel is turning. Look very carefully. Do you see where the wheel is turning? And you see she's on the corner of the car, the corner of it. So clearly, this car is driving towards her. Again, I'm not saying this to convince you or not convince you of anything. Listen, if car is wrong, lock her up. She's willing to take whatever consequences. But for the commissioner of police to make such a statement and for the media to put out there that we had participated in protests when we did not, just want you to see this. And then send us to jail if that's what we deserve. Because again, I'm not here to convince you that we did right or wrong. I'm not here to sway you one way. This is where Kara was standing. This is the police car. You can see the direction it is pointed in, away from her. But look at the wheels. The wheels are pointed towards Kara, even though she is standing out of the way and obviously just doing a video, like any reporter would do. Again, I'm not saying this to sway you one way or not, but they spread rumors all over the place. And these pictures are put out there by the media. So I'm just talking about what's already out there. So I'm not even releasing anything here. And so here you can see the car is pointed towards this young lady. And this is serious. And so the media released all kinds of videos. They showed me being dragged. They showed all kinds of things reference to this. But I want you to see when persons saw this video, they had a different take on it. There it is. Sorry, I forgot to move the picture. I'm going to show you another video first so you can. This one. Persons releases all over social media, so this is nothing I'm releasing. But if you look at this video carefully, you can see a car driving into a crowd. All right, and this is very curious. See, the car is driving towards someone who appears to have been standing there, and you can see the person who's walking backwards, trying to get out of the way, and the car was driving towards that person. All right, let me do it here. All right, and the car kept moving, and you saw the senior officer come to stop the driver. Stop! What are you doing? You can see it. You can see that he came to stop them. What they were doing. Lord, this really pains me to see this, and even have to comment on this. To watch them do that to that child. And this is why. There's another video that actually showed before that point. This is before that point. You can see the car was stopped. You see the car started driving forward, and you can see BK Barnaby stopped the car. Look, he stopped the car. And if you look carefully in the crowd, you can see Carol out, not in front of the car, but walking backwards from the car. I'm going to show you exactly where she is. This is Cara in the corner, in your top right corner. You can see Cara moving backwards away from the car. Never did she ever move towards a car. Look, she's moving out of the way, and that's when the officers stopped the car. And then they went back, and that's when they went, and that's when they hit Cara. All right? I want you to watch that one more time. He stopped the car. See, he hit on the car to stop them. And that's when, if you look carefully, Carol was moving backwards. See, moving backwards, away from the car. And then the car took off again towards her. Look, towards her. And then it ran into her. She never jumped in front of that car. And then Barnaby came and stopped the car again. And it was almost like, what are you doing? I was in that car. I won't say what I heard officers saying to each other because there's ongoing stuff. And she was just trying to stop it. Brave, if y'all gonna lock me up, just lock me up. But you can't do that to a Bahamian in my country and think you can get away with it and think you can silence me on that. Philip Brave Davis, if this is what you are about, then we have made a grave mistake. If this is what you are about, then we have made a mistake. You know, they talk about Dr. Minnis, and I'm going to show you those officers are in a minute. They talk about Dr. Minnis, and they say, oh, Dr. Minnis locked up those who went to Windsor Park. And some of the people who were locked up with me were locked up at Windsor Park. The freedom fighters. We know the difference between Dr. Minnis and Brave Davis. They say he locked up Rintia Komalafi and some DNAs. You know the difference with him? He's a little sharper than Brave. Because, yeah, he had those persons locked up on Windsor Park. They were breaking curfew. He had a reason to lock them up. And they were willing to break curfew because they were heroes willing to stand up for this country. I was going out there with them too. Times I got out there, they'd already carried them in the bus, and I worked hard to get them out, negotiated with the commissioner of police, etc., to get them out and to get the charges dropped. The difference with Minnis and Brave is, Minnis ain't never let that foolishness go to court. Minnis dropped that case with Windsor Park and dropped that thing with the DNA because it was clearly nonsense. All of them were locked up. They let them out the same day, and then Minnis dropped the case. That's the difference. Brave Davis and every member of the cabinet knows about this. They decide. I don't want to comment on the case. Brave Davis and every member of parliament knows about this. The fact that Brave still went forward with certain things is because it was most likely him behind some things. I was taught when I was in police training that you don't shoot your gun into a crowd. No matter what the circumstances is, no matter what is going on, you don't shoot your gun into a crowd. Because you could miss. If I'm in the road chasing someone and someone is in front of a house, I'm not going to shoot at them because I could miss them and shoot someone in that house. I was taught when I did my defensive driving course. I came number one, Top Gun, in my firearms course, and I came number one in my defensive driver's course. And we were taught how to drive carefully in a crowd. You cannot just drive how you want in a crowded situation. That's what we were taught. And so those videos are all over social media, so I didn't release them. But I just wanted you to see that was hard for me to see just now because I love that young lady. That's a young lady, a very young lady. I think she's 19 or 20. And she decided to stand up for her country. Not many young people are interested in that. Many young people are interested in going to the club and they're interested in Cardi B and Movado and whoever else. She's interested in saving this country. She's carrying on positive activities. She's never been arrested, never done anything wrong in her life. Her friends and family call her Mother Teresa. That's how sweet and innocent she is. Never had a traffic ticket. Never. Why do we treat Bahamians like this, and why do Bahamians tolerate this? And so I was just showing you stuff that's all over the world. And I will tell you that I've gotten calls from all over the world. We had one international megastar reach out to us to encourage us, to find out what's going on and to encourage us. I won't call their name because something might happen. I want to call starting to get made. The block stuff. But the NAACP has sent messages. Politicians in Africa have seen this. They sat down watching this on the screen together. All over America, people are talking about this. This has gone to America. It's gone to other countries. And they're reaching out. On this one, we had incidents with the government before, with police officers before. And I even was in front of the Miami Herald, and I was there. And I decided that I didn't want to do what Fred Smith and Luby them did. I didn't want to make our country look bad because I love this country. And even though Philip Brave Davis and them were breaking the laws and violating our constitutional rights, I chose not to take it that far. I had conversations with the media, but I didn't pull the trigger, which I'm sure many of you are noticing. And that's only because I love my country. And I felt that Brave Davis can't be that evil. They're just trying to shake us up, scare us. They're just worried about the floodgates opening and everyone just going and grabbing crown land. So, I don't agree with what he's doing, but I don't want to destroy my country over it. I'm not like those people in Haiti who would cut off their nose to spite their face, destroy their whole country just for whatever they want. That's not me. I'm a Bahamian. I love this country. But when we get to this point where the media is being silenced through favors and backdoor deals and switching stories and telling lies that we were participating in a protest, total lies, and ignoring what really happened, we've come to an authoritarian state, which is against all the rules we signed under the UN Treaty on Human Rights, the Bill of Human Rights. When the media is being silenced, we're now an authoritarian state. And because you touch the innocent Brave Davis, something that Minnis never did, this one we're going to have to take to the UN. I am now a politically persecuted leader of a political party that only went there to peacefully hand out bills to members of parliament. And it appears that intentionally, it's how it feels to me. Police officers of Haitian descent were sent to attack us. That's how it feels to me. How could you be behind a car and see a Bahamian? Do you know that if you see a dog in the road and you just knock that dog, you will go to jail? A dog. If you see a turtle and we had a Bahamian locked up for abuse killing a turtle. There was a video all over social media, and he killed the turtle, which is food for many people, and you have to kill him to eat him. I don't know if he ate it or not, but he killed the turtle. He went to jail. He was arrested. If you see a dog in the road and you intentionally run into them, it's cruelty to animals. You will go to jail. How could you do that to a Bahamian human being, Philip Brave Davis? I'm not saying you were behind the wheel, but you were behind the wheel of this whole thing. Philip Brave Davis, we believe. This is our assumption, our opinion, based on what transpired. We believe that your aides called that police officer. Because after he got that call, he switched. We believe that. Because you didn't want the imagery of me passing that bill to you. All of this for that. You breach international law. I can prove it to you. You breached international law for that. And we know because when Maria, every single member of parliament, including Fred Mitchell, Keith Bell, everyone, every PLP, FNM, everyone accepted the document, except you. And that's why we believe that you wanted me of that step so you could walk in and not have to accept that document, that bill, because of the imagery. All this for that. There's so much more I won't say, but I don't want to say anything that's going to interfere with the case. And again, disclaimer again, I'm not saying this for you to believe one way or another. If I do wrong, listen, Mahatma Gandhi said, he said, I'm pleading guilty, lock me up. He said, jail me, because I did that for a purpose. You made a stupid law and I broke that law. He said, I did. Lock me up, and they gave him 7 years. A lot of you don't realize that. Of course, they gave it him and then let him out earlier. But he said, no, I'm not letting you have no mercy on me, because I will not be free as long as our people are being disadvantaged by foreign industrialists, colonialists in our country that will make a law saying that only a foreigner can make salt. And we are going through that right in our country, and we are sitting down and letting it happen every day. What's his name? Chester Cooper just bragged about $1.2 billion worth of projects. No, that's worth of our land gone. Y'all are going to have more beds to make, more drinks to serve. That's all y'all deserve, according to them. But I want you all to see this. I want you all to look at this, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you who those police officers are. I want you to see who those police officers are. This ain't about whether, Kara should be jailed or not, or whether we should win the case or not. I mean, at this point, there's something I'm willing to be jailed for, man. And so I ain't trying to convince you one way or another. I just want to make that clear. I have to keep putting that disclaimer in there. It don't matter to me at this point. Because some things is willing to His word being jail for. I could take it. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a. I'm going to show you the laws and assembly, and then we're going to have an interesting conversation. I'm going to show you who these people are, and you make your own decision. It's totally up to you. On, I'm going to show you these people. I'll leave it at that, and the rest is up to you. But first, let me make sure you understand your rights because I don't want Bahamians trampled over and taken advantage of. I don't want this anything um, nearing what happened to anyone in the past who wanted to peacefully assemble. I don't want anything to happen to them again in the future. And so you can see the full thing on if you go to Bahamian Evolution. But I want you to see this. Pay close attention to this. I know this is going to take about let me speed it up for you. It talks about the Constitution first, section 24, which talks about your rights. But I'm gonna speed that up for you. It was talking about the right to assemble. So that's pretty obvious. We have a right to assemble in the Constitution, but I just want to speed it up so it's only about 15 minutes. Y'all watch this, and then when we come back, I'm gonna show you who those monsters were. I'm gonna show you exactly who those monsters were. Let me just take myself off the video first. And I don't want any Bahamian to doubt themselves ever again. Ladies and gentlemen, just give me a second. I'm going to put this video on the screen for you. I am so sorry. I heard people saying that there's no sound. We're so sorry about that. Let's try that one more time. I'm so sorry. We'll get it. We'll get it right. All right. So I want you to see your right. So that's what we're gonna do. All right. So just pay attention. All right. Let's try it again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull it back a little bit. All right. All right, there we go. Let's do that again.
Of 3 or more persons who, with intent to carry out any common purpose, assemble in such a manner or so conduct themselves when assembled as to cause persons in the neighborhood of such assembly to fear, on reasonable grounds, that the persons so assembled will disturb the peace tumultuously, or will, by such assembly, needlessly and without any reasonable occasion, provoke other persons to disturb the peace tumultuously. So let's break that down. An unlawful assembly is an assembly of 3 or more persons. So, first and foremost, there must be 3 or more persons. 2 persons cannot commit unlawful assembly. 1 person cannot commit unlawful assembly. And 2 or much more persons must be assembled with the intent to carry out any common purpose, assembled in such a manner or so conduct themselves when associated as to cause persons in the neighborhood of such assembly to fear. So, for example, the protesters on Windsor Park. If it caused persons in the neighborhood to fear, then that starts to constitute unlawful assembly. However, it doesn't stop there. Not only must they be together for a common cause, they must put persons in fear, but it must be on reasonable grounds. So not just fear, because some people can fear anything. Someone can fear their shadow. Some persons can fear a spider. It must be on reasonable grounds that this is going to happen, that the persons so assembled will disturb the peace tumultuously. Not just disturb the peace, but will disturb it tumultuously, which means that they feel that there's going to be a big breakdown and disturbance, a big blow up. So it cannot just be that the persons are there protesting and they are peacefully holding placards or they're wearing the same t-shirt. They must put the neighbors in fear that they are going to disturb the peace tumultuously. And so, if the neighbors of Windsor Park are afraid of these persons or fear the things that are listed here, then it would start to constitute unlawful assembly. So the first thing the police has to do is receive a complaint from the neighbors to say, we fear that these people are going to disturb the peace tumultuously. If there is no such complaint, there cannot be an arrest for unlawful assembly under 79 subsection 1. If persons are protesting on Rodson Square and they're protesting peacefully, if the neighbors don't complain, they reasonably fear that they're going to disturb the peace tumultuously, then there is no offense under section 79, subsection 1. And so subsection 2 continues, persons lawfully assembled together may become an unlawful assembly if they conduct themselves with a common purpose in such a manner as would have made their assembling unlawful if they had assembled in that manner and for that purpose. So in other words, they may assemble lawfully, they may assemble for good cause, but then their behavior becomes something that would constitute unlawful assembly, and then that would now constitute it. And so unlawful assembly is defined. And so if the requirements are not as listed, the police has no rights to arrest you or to harass you as it relates to unlawful assembly. Section 80 addresses where persons are gathered together and it's believed that they are gathered together unlawfully, and it is suspected that they are going to commit a riot or that they are going to disturb the peace tumultuously. This is what is supposed to happen. So if the police determines that you have gathered unlawfully or they suspect you of unlawful assembly, this is what must happen. The police cannot pull up in their bus and say, you're under arrest, get in the bus. This is what must happen. Section 80. It says to disperse. And it reads, subsection 1. Any magistrate, or in the absence of any magistrate, any justice of the peace. And so it says who can act in this instance in the Bahamas. A magistrate or justice of the peace. You will notice that it does not say a police officer. It says any magistrate or a justice of the peace or any commissioned officer of Her Majesty's military, which we do not have in this country, or naval service, in whose view a riot is being committed. And so we do not have the military here. Remember, this was written before we were an independent nation. This is from the Penal Code, which was written before we were independent. The Defense Force does not qualify as either of them, and neither does the police force. If, in the view of a magistrate or a justice of the peace, a riot is being committed, then it continues, or who apprehends that a riot is about to be committed by persons assembled within his view, it must be within the view of the magistrate or justice of the peace, may make or cause to be made a proclamation in the Queen's name, commanding the rioters or persons assembled to disperse peaceably. So if they believe that you are assembled, you are unlawfully assembled, etc., or you're rioting at this point, they may ask you to disperse in the name of the Queen. And this is what they must do. They must make a proclamation, and the proclamation must go like this. Subsection 2 says, the order and form of such proclamation shall be as hereinafter followeth. That is to say, the magistrate or other person authorized by this act to make the said proclamation shall, among the rioters, they must go within the rioters, or persons so assembled, or as near to them as he can safely come, with a loud voice, command or cause to be commanded silence. So the first thing that they must do is they must go into the crowd, or as near the crowd as they can safely, and they must ask the crowd to be silent. And after shall openly and with a loud voice make or cause to be made proclamation in these words, or to a like effect. Our sovereign lady, the Queen, chargeth and commandeth all persons being assembled immediately to disperse themselves, and peaceably to depart to their habitations or to their lawful business, upon the pains contained in the Penal Code for preventing tumults and riotous assemblies. God save the Queen. This is the proclamation that must be made. So, if persons assemble to protest, to demonstrate, they are peaceful, or if it is believed that they are not going to be peaceful, or they start to become riotous, the police cannot show up in a bus, pile all of them in the bus, and take them to the station.
The people have finally arrived at their square. This is the Square of Liberty, and the people has a right to march to Rawson Square. And the people march for freedom. They march for freedom of expression. They march for a future, and they want to be heard. This is the people's time, and the people will be heard.
There's certain procedure that must happen. And the first procedure is a magistrate or justice of the peace must show up to the scene and must make the proclamation to the Queen that I have just read. If this proclamation is done, there is no right for anyone to ask persons so gathered to move. Why is that? It is because of Article 24 of the Constitution. This is a fundamental right, and a right that is considered extremely important. And so, in this instance, only a magistrate or justice of the peace can ask these persons to disperse. It is similar to another right, a right to the privacy of the home, which is given by the Constitution. And that means that no one should enter your home for any reason and disturb your peace. And this is why a magistrate or justice of the peace must give a warrant for your home to be searched, for authorities to enter your home, because it is an important fundamental right. And so your fundamental right to be gathered and to associate in public or in private is a strong fundamental right, and therefore only a magistrate or justice of the peace may allow persons to hinder with that right. However, the riot or the assembly must be within their view. They must have seen this themselves and be acting upon them. Further, after the proclamation is made, the police then still do not have a right to arrest anybody or to force anyone to move. There is still further procedures that must take place, and that is Section 81 of the Penal Code. It says what you must do to disperse the crowd. Section 81 states, subsection 1, if upon the expiration of an hour after such proclamation made, or after the making of such proclamation has been prevented by force, 12 or more persons continue riotously assembled together, any person authorized to make proclamation, or any peace officer, or any other person acting in aid of such a person or officer may do all things necessary for dispersing the persons so continuing assembled, or for apprehending them, or any of them. And if any person makes resistance, may use all such force as is reasonably necessary for overcoming such resistance. Let me repeat and make this clear. After the proclamation is made, your freedom to assemble is so important that they allow you to continue to assemble, to continue to even riot for 1 hour. It says, if upon the expiration of 1 hour after the proclamation has been made, or after making such proclamation has been prevented by force, if 12 or more persons continue to righteously assemble together. So if 11 or less is gathered together, then the authorities have no power. But if 12 or more persons continue, then they may take such action as to cause these persons to be dispersed. And so Section 414 gives the punishment for persons who decide to continue to be unlawfully assembled or to continue in their righteous behavior. It says, subsection 1, if, as is provided in Book 1 of this code, proclamation is made commanding the persons engaged in a riot or unlawful assembly to disperse, every person who, at or after the expiration of 1 hour from the making of such proclamation, takes or continues to take part in the riot or assembly shall be liable to imprisonment for 5 years. And so riots and unlawful assembly, you have 1 hour. You have to be given a warning. And if you do not leave or stop your righteous behavior within that hour, then the authorities have the right to move you. Why? Because you have freedom to move about in the Bahamas, and no one can tell you that you cannot assemble at Rawson Square or at any public place in this Bahamas. This is how important this law is. This law is so important. This fundamental right is so important that in Section 421 of the Penal Code, it actually prevents anyone from stopping you from being assembled lawfully. It actually says, whoever unlawfully and with violence obstructs the assembly of any persons for any lawful purpose or disturbs any such assembly, or with violence disperses or attempts to disperse any such assembly, is guilty of a misdemeanor. And so this goes for anyone, including the police. If you are lawfully assembled and the police attempts to remove you, and they attempts to do it with force, then they are committing a crime. This is how important your fundamental freedom to assemble is. Now, what does this mean? You have every right to assemble, but you must assemble peacefully. As long as you are assembled peacefully, no one in this country has the right to ask you to stop being assembled. If they tell you to stop being assembled, they have not committed an offense. However, if they try to stop you with force, if they try to collect you, put you in a bus, or move you from wherever you are assembled, then it is a criminal offense. Nothing in any law that we have found states that you are required to request a permit from the Commissioner of Police or anyone to assemble in the streets. There is no law that was written that requires you to request a permit to assemble in the streets, whether it is for a march, a demonstration, or a protest. As long as you are being peaceful, that you are not threatening violence, that you are not causing violence, and you are peaceful, then the police have no power to remove you or to ask you to remove yourselves. We have read the law and we have not.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard the law for yourselves. You've read the law for yourselves. And we hope that you were empowered by reading the law for yourselves. That is the law. To the point where Section 421 of the Penal Code, we're not just dependent on the Constitution now, the Penal Code says anyone who breaks up or attempts to break up a lawful assembly has committed a crime. Anyone includes the police. And the reason they put that in the law is to give you a right to defend yourselves in such a situation. Again, I'm not saying this in reference to our case. I'm saying this for you who may decide to do this in the future. I don't know if I'm going to be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be here next week or next month or 10 years from now. But this video will always be here to educate our children. Because if the Bahamians today decide that they're going to leave things the way it is, our children are going to have to stand up and fight. If Bahamians today are not serious to do so. And so the reason they put that there is because you have a right to defend yourselves against any criminal harm from any act of crime being committed against you. I am about to show you the law. This is your rights. You heard of the law of self-defense. You heard of the law of you heard about citizen arrest and that kind of stuff, but you've never seen it actually in the law. You've never seen it in writing. So I'm going to show you that right now. And then I'm going to show you these police officers who, deserve to be treated very specially as they go around town. And so I'm going to pull up the law for you. And so, one, this is the Constitution. I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to show you your right to defend against any crime, including the crime that the police commits against you. Any police. And so this is your rights as it relates to the law. This is all of your rights. And so it starts from Section 15. And when I was in police college, they taught, we had to learn this verbatim, and we got examined on this. We had to be able to write out this whole entire thing on the exam. The whole of 15, which is your fundamental rights and freedoms. Whereas every person in the Bahamas is entitled to the fundamental rights and freedoms of the individual, that is to say, has the right, whatever his race, place of origin, political origin, color, creed, or sex, but subject to respect for the rights and freedoms of others, or for the interest, or for the public interest, to each and all of the following, namely. Now, it is in the public interest for the public to present a bill that they want to be tabled to the House of Assembly. That is in the public interest. But nonetheless, we have a right to life, liberty, that means freedom. The law of freedom means, the law of liberty, freedom means that you have a right to do anything that there is not a law that expressly prevents you from doing it. That's what liberty means. You have the freedom to do anything that a law does not expressly prohibit you from doing. All right? It says security of the person, so you can protect yourself, and the protection of the law. So you have a right to the protection of the law. That is a fundamental right as powerful as a right to life. Now, in human rights, all of the rights are equal. So your right to life is the same as your right to protection and all these other rights that I'm going to read. This is the law. Freedom of conscience. So your right to life is as important and must as your freedom of conscience, of freedom of expression, of assembly. Your freedom of assembly is as powerful and as important as your right to life, including law, and of association, and protection of privacy of the home and other property, and from the deprivation of property without compensation. So I just wanted to read your rights for you. Now, 17, I want to see some of these rights. You have a right, no person shall be subjected to torture or to inhumane or degrading treatment. A police officer assaulting you, that's degrading treatment. It's inhumane. Maybe scuffing you up like a child for no reason, when you're not resisting, not doing any of that. That's degrading treatment. You being dragged, if the police ever drag you on the floor, that's inhumane and degrading treatment. If a police was seen to grab a dog by his leg and drag him in the street, he would be arrested for cruelty to animals. If you do that, you'd be arrested for cruelty to animals. And so you have a right against that. That is as powerful as your right to life. Okay? Then talk about your right to not be a slave. The next one is, no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty save as may be authorized by law in any of the following cases. So that means that you arbitrary arrest, protection from arbitrary arrest or detention. You are protected from being arrested. And it also goes on to say that, let's go to 4. Any person who is unlawfully arrested or detained by any other person shall be entitled to compensation. This is our Constitution. This isn't like you're just suing someone or you feel you may have a right somewhere. This is not in a law anywhere. This is in the Constitution of the Bahamas. That if anyone arrests you, take your liberty, stops you without a just cause, you now have a right ingrained in the Constitution, immovable, that they must pay you. Any person who is unlawfully arrested or detained, arrested or detained by any other person shall be entitled to be compensated therefore from that other person. So one thing as a police, police who go out of order, and there's a lot of police who are good police, but there's a small crew of bad police, or some police who feel that they just have to do what they're told because then they won't get promotion, and that makes it corruption, or they may get transferred. And that means you corrupt because you're doing it because you want to benefit. And they believe that, well, you could be suing the government, not me, so I don't care. I can beat you up. You have to go to court. But no, they can be sued personally. And the government can be sued. So, read it again. Any person who is unlawfully arrested or detained by any other person shall be entitled to compensation therefrom, entitled to compensation, therefore, from that other person. You can sue the police officer. Get him. So let me tell you what this means, officers. If you are sued personally, there's a judgment against you. There's a $500,000 judgment, $1 million judgment, even $100,000 judgment. You will never be able to do anything in this life again. It will bound you as a person. It'll stop you from doing anything. You can't buy property. You can't do anything until you pay that person off who you wronged. And because the previous commissioner of police has now admitted that he did wrong things to persons on the instructions of Dr. Minnis, then I encourage all Bahamians, when you sue the police force, sue the individual officer who is acting on behalf of that politician. Let's see if the politician can pay that bill for them. And let's see if the officers will keep doing when they realize they have to pay for it. And then they see that that politician ain't gonna do nothing for them. That is the law. And so let's go to the penal code. I want you to see this because you have to understand your rights. All right? Let's go to the penal code. We're going to go to section 107. Always remember that 107, ladies and gentlemen, 107. This is your right to defend yourself and defend anyone around you who is being harmed or wronged by anybody. I don't care if it's the prime minister assaulting someone, you can stop them. I don't care if it's the governor general or a police officer or the commissioner of police. You have a right to protect anybody. All right, so this is section 107. Remember this. This is your self-defense. I want y'all to learn this. All right, because I don't want any Bahamians abuse this country again. Because what I saw. Let me continue. Use of force for the prevention of or defense against crime. So you can use force to prevent anyone from crime. Let me read it for you. Section 107. For the prevention of or for the defense of himself or any other person against any crime. That's any single crime. A person may justify the use of necessary force not extending to a blow, wound, or grievous harm. So that means you can hold them down, push them, do whatever you want. You just can't hurt them. All right? You see any crime going on. Let's say you're there and you see a man push another man. You have a right to go there and do what you can to make sure that that man is not assaulted. Pushing another man is an assault. That's a clear assault. That's assault and battery, actually. That's assault and battery, not just assault. And so if you see assault and battery happening in front of you, Bahamas, I don't care who is committing that assault and battery. If they are doing it unlawfully, you have a right to protect the person being assaulted and battered. Notice what it says. For the prevention of or for the defense of himself or any other person. It don't have to be self-defense. You can defend anyone you see a crime being committed against. So if you see a police officer committing a crime against someone, you have a right to stop them. You see it? You or any other person against any crime, a person may justify the use of necessary force not extending to a blow, wound, or grievous harm. Next, subsection 2. For the prevention of or for the defense of himself or any other person against any criminal force. All right? This means any force. A force is any push. If you see someone going to push or hit or do anything that has to do with any force. All right? If you take your finger and touch someone, that's force. All right? Any force. So the first one was just a crime. All right? This one is any physical force. So this one is assault and battery, wounding, someone pick up a bottle and throw at someone else, someone push someone down the stairs, anything like that. Against any criminal force or harm, a person may justify the use of necessary force not extending to a wound or grievous harm. So if you see someone, including the police, using any force unjustifiably against another person, you could punch them, all right? You could hit them. You just can't do grievous harm against them for, unless they was going to do something serious. But in terms of if a police come and push someone in front of you or hit someone in front of you, any force, it says, you have a right. All right? We justify the use of necessary force not extending to a wound or grievous harm. So you just can't chop them up. But you can defend against that. That's your right as a Bahamian. We ain't depend on the Constitution yet, This is your right. This is the penal code. This is the weaker part of it. We didn't reach the Constitution. This is the penal code. You have a right to defend yourself. I bet you they never read this to you. Number 3, for the prevention of or for the defense of himself or any other person against any felony, that means major crime, a person may justify the use of necessary force not extending to dangerous harm. I mean, life and death almost. And it's the last one. For the prevention of or for the defense of himself or any other person against any of the following crimes, a person may justify any necessary force or harm extending in the case of extreme necessity, even to killing. So this way you could even kill someone. If someone is trying to do these things to you or someone else in your view, you can kill. And that is treason. Boy, you have some treasonous people around here. Piracy, murder, manslaughter, except manslaughter by negligence, which means more accidental. Robbery, if someone coming to rob you, you can defend yourself. Or anyone in front of you, you can defend them. You can kill that person. Burglary, all right? That's house breaking at night. You can kill that person. House breaking, someone breaking in your house, you can kill that person. Arson of a dwelling house or vessel. I mean, they try to burn down your house or your vessel. You can kill that person. Stop them. Rape. If someone tries to rape you, you can kill them. Forcible unnatural crime. That means kind of sodomites. All right? Dangerous or grievous harm. Someone trying to hurt you seriously. You can kill them. Now, it makes clear, because they talking about these defenses and force and that kind of stuff, they going back to where we were dealing with a lawful assembly. Now watch this. They said, for the suppression or dispersion of a riotous or unlawful assembly, force may be justified in the cases and subject to the conditions specified in this code with respect to such assemblies. Remember the first video that you watched, where I broke down. They only have certain amount of powers. They must, despite the fact that you are there and you are unlawfully assembled or being righteous or whatever, they have to get a magistrate or a JP. And then, despite of what you're doing, they have to declare, you have a certain declaration. And then they have to give you an hour. And then if 12 or more of you are still doing it, then they can arrest or they can use force to disperse you or arrest you. That's the law. So they're making sure that they don't use this particular subsection to stop people who are unlawfully assembled or rioting. That's how important your law is. That's how important this is. All right, this is how important your protections are. Do you see your civil rights? Do you see the law? No one can take that away from you. But for Bahamians, we are too soft and we don't know the law. So we let them get away with whatever they want to get away with. I want you to remember Philip Brave Davis. I can show you those police officers right now. I want you to remember Philip Brave Davis' comments when the DNA was arrested. I want you to see this for yourself. This was Philip Brave Davis back then, mashing up Minnis, because Minnis arrested or had Komalafe arrested. All right? Or he was arrested under Minnis's watch. Now, we were arrested under Brave's watch. But let me show you what Brave had to say about this whole thing. All right? This here is from the PLP website. It's still on there. March 2021. Honorable Philip Brave Davis, Prime Minister, is now Prime Minister, Commonwealth of Bahamas. All right? They changed it. He wasn't Prime Minister then. The arrest of DNA leader Komalafe yesterday was shocking, but not surprising. Shocking because the criminal justice system should never be used by a prime minister against his political opponents. But unsurprising because Humid Minnis has repeatedly shown himself willing to cross the lines that should never be crossed in a democracy. Wow. This is the words of Philip Brave Davis. He said that the criminal justice system should never be used by a prime minister. So Minister wasn't there when she got locked up. But Brave is saying ministers do that. So Brave wasn't there when Bahamians got locked up. But Bahamians are saying Brave do that. See? The criminal justice system should never be used by a prime minister against his political opponents. But unsurprising, because Hubert Minnis has repeatedly shown himself willing to cross the lines. Well, Philip Brave Davis, you have now shown yourself willing to do even worse. Minnis didn't let no one get assaulted and run over and treated and dragged. You did. Bahamas, the FNM and PLP is the same. Don't mind their talks. They're the same. Me today, remember? It was Komalafi that day. But guess what I did? I stood with her. Because just like I said, it's hot today and it could be me tomorrow. Huh? It's me today. It could be any of you tomorrow. And it may not be because you want to protest, you know. It could be your lawyer know a crooked officer. Not your lawyer, your landlord know a crooked officer. And you say, listen, I want to get this person kicked out of my house. Man, come rough them up and just throw them out. It could be anything. But this is Brave Davis. And he can't play like he ain't know, because he know exactly what is going on. Exactly what is going on. Ladies and gentlemen, today is one set of Bahamians. Tomorrow it could be you. I showed this last video about your freedom of assembly, and I can show you these officers. You deserve to see them. These officers who did that to Kara. I can show you them. This is a video on the right to freedom of assembly. I want you to see this. I want you to see how serious it is. Listen to this first, and then I can show you something. I can show you how communist China would have dealt with the situation with Kara. I can show you how communist China, back in the day when before they had any kind of capitalism or any of democracy or anything, well, they don't have democracy, but capitalism and free speech, I can show you how communist China back in the day would have dealt with this. But first, let me educate you. I'd like to show you videos to teach you how to research. Watch this. And so that's your right. No one can take away your right to freedom of assembly. It is that powerful. And here is in England. They had a protest. And you saw a case they brought up. They don't even have a right to put up barriers. Do you see that? That's English law that you were saying just now. That's English law. That's English law that you were watching. And it showed a particular case. A case. All right? The Peckham case, where police don't even have the right to put up barricades when you protesting. Did you see it? That's the Peckham case. Go research it. I got to speed through this. But here, I want you to see this. This was a protest in England where a man was arrested, right? And people went in the streets. People surrounded the police van. All right? And they surrounded and they didn't leave. And guess what? No police is beating them up. They were sitting on the ground in front of the vehicle. They surrounded the police bus. And eventually, the police had to let him go. And they released him. All right? See, you have to know your rights. Bahamians are too soft. Bahamians are too soft. And that's why they get away. This is what happened in Tiananmen Square in 1989. I want you to see this.
Time today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace, which as it happened was already occupied. He walked to the middle and stood there. The man was alone. The tank was not. It wasn't just a single tank he stopped. There were 18 tanks and armored carriers in this convoy, and while he talked to the crew and ignored the gunfire, he stopped all of them. One man alone, of course, can't stop an army. Except for a moment, that's exactly what happened here. For 3 minutes in the middle of the day, an army was stopped by a man who stood still.
So I want you to see this, and this is in China. This is in China. And in fact, a real protest was going on. There was gunfire all around. I'm going to let you hear it in a minute. Gunfire was going on. They were protesting with guns. And this is in China. The tank didn't say, "Oh, you came in front of me." The tank stopped. The tank didn't keep trying to knock him down. The tank tried to go around him a couple of times, but when he couldn't get around him, he stopped. So there were some people saying that Kara, jumped in front of the car, and in other words, they're saying she deserved that. But this is communist China in 1989, the bad days, and the tanks stopped.
Why, we just don't know. But when bystanders rushed in to save this stubborn soul, it wasn't easily done. He was pushed away at last, faceless in the crowd. Safe, we think, but in a city verging on calamity. What moves a man to just stand still? Is it courage or outrage or madness? We can't tell what was on his mind, and we can't forget what he did. Richard Roth, CBS News, Beijing.
So if communist China that doesn't have the same laws that we have, and I was going to show you another video, go and research it. You'll see the videos turning around and trying to avoid that person. If that tank knew to stop, how was it that a police officer in a police car, that tank could use the excuse that they didn't see him down there? How is it that a police officer and the police car has a right to run over an innocent Bahamian? And people are justifying that to support their party. Freedom of assembly, last thing.
Now we're going to look at the rights to freedom of peaceful assembly. Freedom of peaceful assembly is the right to gather for a common purpose. This can be done publicly or privately. It includes the right to participate in assemblies, meetings, protests, strikes, sit-ins, demonstrations, and other gatherings. International law only protects assemblies when they are peaceful. However, an assembly does not lose its peaceful character due to sporadic violence or unlawful behaviors of some individuals. The peaceful intentions of the people.
You hear that? If some of the individuals start to be erratic or do violence, that does not stop it from being considered a peaceful assembly by international law. That's just those individuals need to be dealt with, but it doesn't mean that the assembly itself, under international law that we signed on, it doesn't mean that it stops being a peaceful assembly if one or two persons, if a couple of people act sporadic. Play that for you again. It's international law.
Character due to sporadic violence or unlawful behaviors of some individuals. The peaceful intentions of the people assembling should be presumed. No assembly can be banned on the assumption that it may turn violent. This right may not be denied to any one group. It is open to everyone. Even counter-demonstrators have the right to assemble peacefully.
You cannot assume that an assembly is going to be violent, and because of that, say you're going to put them behind barricades, block them out, tell them move from here, move from there, because you assume that they're going to be violent. By international law, you cannot assume their actions. Now, if the assembly becomes a non-peaceful assembly, then you can act. So it's like the same. A police officer can't assume you're going to run the red light. You know what? I feel like he can run that red light because of how close he comes to that. Let me give him a ticket. A police officer can't assume that you're going to shoot him and then take out his gun and shoot you. Likewise, they can't assume that something is going to be a non-peaceful assembly because you're gathered together, whether you're near the house of assembly or wherever you are. They cannot do that by international law. Let's continue.
Exercising freedom of peaceful assembly should not be subject to the permission of the authorities. States may require notice, but not authorization.
Did you hear that? According to international law, you should not have to ever get permission to assemble. That is international law. Now, they can make a law requiring you to give notice so they can be prepared, but they cannot require you to have to get permission. I don't see anywhere in our law where it says you have to get a permit to protest. An international law that we signed on to prohibits them requiring you to get a permit to protest. Now, if you're going to march in the road and block up the road, that's a different story. But to go in a public place anywhere or private place, an open field, etc., and to freely assemble, you do not have to get a permit or permission from anybody. That is international law. Let me let you hear that again and go research for yourselves.
Permission of the authorities. States may require notice, but not authorization. Since public peaceful assemblies are held to convey a message, they must be facilitated within sight and sound of their target audience.
So also a protest must be in the sight and the sound of your intended audience. This is international law. And so you have to be permitted to protest where the politicians can see you and hear you. This is international law. They can't tell you, oh, you're disturbing the House of Assembly. You have to be permitted to be in the sight and the sound of the target audience. It's international law. They take advantage of us because we don't know our rights, Bahamas. Let's continue.
Under international law, assemblies may be subject to certain restrictions. However, these restrictions must be provided by law and meet a strict test of necessity and proportionality. All limitations to this right have to be justifiable in the interests of national security or public safety, public order, the protection of public health or morals, or the protection of the rights and freedoms of others. Restrictions should never impair the essence of the right. Freedom must be the rule and not the exception. So, to recap, states have the obligation to protect and fulfill the rights to peaceful assembly and to take measures that facilitate it, enabling people's capacity to express their opinions. Freedom of peaceful assembly is an important means through which people can exercise their freedom of expression.
Ladies and gentlemen, when I went on base to bring the bills to Parliament, well, not the bills, sorry, to bring the Commission of Inquiry, the application to the Commission of Inquiry, before the election, way before the election. Minis provided us with police escort to march from the House of Assembly to Government House and back. We came out there, we presented a bill. With reference to Bahamians benefiting from our Aragonite, etc., to a member of parliament, just like we did now. That was under Minis, evil Minis, dictator Minis, that's what you'll call him. We presented a bill to members of parliament, Vaughan Miller and Michael Pine, for them to take into the house. We had whole crowds of people there. There was even more people. And Minis didn't lock us up. Minis had no problem with our presence. He then provided a car, a police car. Yes, despicable Minis. Then provided a police car and bikes, motorbikes, to escort us as we marched to the government house and marched back. Bahamas, all those descriptions we said about Minis, look at the difference with Brave. Look at what Brave did. You come to your own conclusion. Brave, you are the lowest of the low. You are worse than Minis. The whole entire international community is watching this. And we are going to the UN on this one. Minis never put his eye on us. When we went out there on Russell Square, Windsor Park, they collected them because there was still the COVID restrictions and we was on lockdown. They collected them. We understand that. But he let them out. Brave Davis, this seems to be personal. But we are not standing down. We're going to defend this country because we know the law. We know it. And we know what you have done. I'm not going to play the video with me. I don't want this ain't about me. I ain't defending myself. But when I saw what happened to Cara, who I consider my daughter, let me tell you something. I am boiling inside right now. And I'm boiling inside because of these two police officers. This is Cara. Innocent girl. She was just standing up with video, just taking video. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, Cara wasn't there to the protests. Cara wasn't there. Look at all the videos. Cara was at work. Maria was homesick. Cara was to Maria's office working, and she was sent on an errand downtown area. And she saw us protesting, and she saw the commotion. She know the protest was. She didn't see us protesting. Sorry, she saw the commotion happening because we didn't protest. And she came over, and she pulled out her phone and she started recording. She wasn't there to see the police officer do what he did to me. She wasn't there to help give out any documents. She happened to be passing and the commotion was going on, and she came while they were dragging me into the car. She said, "What's going on here?" And she took out a video. Because that's what I always tell my people, always take out video, because one thing with wicked police officers, again, all ain't wicked, but the wicked ones, they lie. And trust me, plenty of people get lied on by police. So always take out your video. Imagine if we didn't have video there. But anyway, these are the wicked police officers that did that to her. This one is Carey. All right, that's Carey. That's Officer Carey right there. It's Bahamian. Treated me very respectfully. Helped me put on my coat and all that when he came out of the car. Very decent. Didn't have nothing to say. Didn't open his mouth when I was coming out of the car. And he helped me because I was in the car when it happened. This one of the officers in the car. This Carey. And this other officer is Jarvis. Jarvis. This Jarvis. Jarvis. Cara. This Jarvis. Cara. This is Jarvis. Jarvis, you should have attended the defensive driving course. Cara, this Jarvis. You need their faces to be all over social media. Yes, this the Haitian. I need their faces to be all over social media. An official police complaint is going to be filed. A lawsuit is going to be filed. And we are going to the UN to make an official complaint against our nation. They have expressed that at that point an investigation will be done. Once you make a complaint to the Human Rights Committee of the United Nations, an investigation against our government will be made, and I did not want it to go there. But Bahamas, I have to. Because it's like when you have an abusive boyfriend or girlfriend, but if you have an abusive boyfriend and you let him curse you out once, it's going to escalate. And then you let him slap you, and then you get away with slapping you, it's going to escalate. And then he might punch you down and kick you and stomp you. And then it's going to escalate. It's going to get worse and worse. So Philip Brave Davis, before it gets there of you abusing the Bahamian people and feeling that you are some kind of God in this country, let me tell you something, Philip. You are no God. You are a self-proclaimed Haitian that is abusing Bahamians. You are a wicked man who throws rocks and hides his hand. We are on to you. Bahamians are tired and fed up. Ingram never stopped persons from protesting outside of the house. That's your advisor, Ingram, your best friend. You and Ingram is closer than Perry and Ingram. You told me that, Brave. Ingram, when they was protesting BTC, He told them, listen, he told his bodyguards, I walk into the crowd. If I got to be afraid of my own people, I can't govern them. If my people feel they got to spank me, then I got to get spanked. That's what Ingram told them. I was there. I was an officer on Bay Street. I was a police. I was there. Ingram walked through that crowd. Because that's his people. He didn't avoid them. He said no call ahead, man, get them from around the house. He wasn't a coward, like a man who calls himself brave. Who was a coward, afraid to face the people. Ingram walked through that crowd, and they threw bear and peanut on Ingram. And he held a straight face, and he walked inside. You know how many people was arrested when they threw bear and peanut on Ingram? Not one. Not one. Ingram said, they my boss. And if they say I can't sell BTC, I can pull back. And he expressed it. He said, listen, if 5 of y'all come downtown ball naked, we can lock you up. But he said, if 1,000 of y'all come downtown ball naked, we can stand up and cheer. Brave, you are a coward. The people are on to you. What you did was wrong. Now, I know you mightn't like us because we speak the truth and that's what we expect. Even the Christ said in John chapter 6, evil likes darkness. They don't like when you turn on the light. The truth runs to the light, but evil likes darkness. And that's why Christ said they're going to reject him. Because evil likes darkness. All I did for the last several years was turn on the light. But we know that evil likes darkness. And so I will let my light shine until my Father snuffs it out. But I can tell you one thing. No one is going to stop this revolution. No one is going to stop the evolution. It has begun. I am not the leader of a political party. I am the leader of the evolution. You cannot stop what has already begun. What I am cannot be killed. I am an idea. I am the hope of a new generation that cannot be killed. It is like energy. It cannot be destroyed. You can do what you will with me. You can say what you will about me. They said in a PLP meeting a few weeks ago, there's nothing we can do with him. Bahamians waking up. And boy, we have to keep locking up these Haitians. They can wake up too. So they said, only thing they can try to do with me, because if they lock me up, it ain't gonna help. If they kill me, it can make me a martyr. They said we got to try bankrupt him so he can't get to run in the election. We got to stop him from getting to the election. Because right now, the way it's looking, we got a problem. That's what they said in their PLP meeting. Y'all challenged me. So they said, let's find a way to bankrupt him. This movement cannot be stopped. We are not a political party. We are a movement. And the change is coming. I'm going to share this picture, or these pictures, the two of them. The two of them is in the car. All right, I'm going to share these pictures. You also need to get the pictures of the other senior officers who were there. Share them. So they need to be treated specially with love and affection when you see them around society. That's all I got to say about that. When you all see him, love him up. Love him up. There's another police officer there, Pierre. So one with Charlotte. I can put all that on my Facebook page. No, sorry, I shouldn't say the one with Charlotte. He was there. Y'all go look at the videos and y'all identify for yourselves. Who do what? I wasn't there when Charlotte got hit. I was there when Kara got hit by the car. I was in the car. So I was shocked that people said she jumped in front of the car. I'm going to open the phone lines for a minute. People tell me I go too long. I think I don't go long enough. We got to educate our Bahamian people. The phone number is 804-4264. 804-4264. That is the phone number, 804-4264. Let's get the number up there, 804-4264. It's a live line. Call me and tell me what you think about what you heard today. Did you ever heard those laws read to you? No politicians read you the law. They want you to stay dumb. They're afraid of this movement because we're going to educate the people. 804-4264. Y'all please call in. Y'all talk to me. Let's talk. Again, disclaimer. Nothing I said today was to convince you one way or another about a court case. Listen, Kara might be as guilty as sin or not guilty as sin. That ain't what this conversation was about. This was only about educating you. Lehman Delvo talked some nonsense about police must be respected and the people must be respected. Listen, there's nothing in the law that talks about disrespecting a person, Lehman Delvo. Are you crazy? It's not against the law to disrespect someone. Where do you get this from? That if you disrespect a police officer, he can arrest you? Lehman Delvo, are you stupid? Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good night, Mr. Ben.
Yes, be careful of disrespecting me. You may be arrested.
Mr. Ben.
Yes.
Keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you, man.
Wicked man, them beat me in the courthouse. Set them in lodge. Be very careful of these lodge people in the society, please.
Man, listen, I ain't worrying about the Lord. I ain't worrying about the Lord. That's who I focus on.
Man, understand what I'm saying, Mr. Ben?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. There are good people in the Lord who don't believe in all of this nonsense. There are people in the Lord who on both sides of the divide. There are people in the Lord in our movement who support us in every kind of way, who come out and work hard, and they're there to every protest, you know. But there are also evil people at the top. Some in the Lord, some ain't in the Lord, some is Anglican, some is Catholic and all that. I'm worried about evil people wherever they may be who want to oppress our Bahamian people. We're going to break the change of anyone who has been oppressing our people. And we are going to take Bahamians to the top. All right? No, you can't. Yes, I agree with you. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, bro. Yes. Of course. Amen.
Which one you're standing on?
Amen.
For the Lord, you can't stand on two grounds. Only one ground.
Thank you, man.
All other grounds is sinking stand on Christ you stand, Mr. Ben, please.
All right. Thank you, man. All right.
Thankful, Mr. Ben. Please see God doing this, Mr. Ben.
Listen, I don't do anything without God. Because there are evil people in the church. There are evil pastors who are assisting the government with oppressing the people right now as we speak. There are evil people everywhere. And so that is what my focus is. Anyone who is participating in oppressing the Bahamian people is an enemy of the Bahamian people. And that is where my focus is. I don't care if you've been a pastor or prophet for 1,000 years. If you are oppressing God's people, you are an enemy of the people. All right?
Mr. Ben, I'm a child of God, Mr. Ben.
Yes.
Are you in Lord, Mr. Ben?
No, I'm not.
Thank God for that.
All right. Thank you for your call, man.
God to see you too. You're going to be our next leader, sir.
All right. Thank you, man.
You're going to be our next leader.
All right. God bless you, man. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone who's against the Bahamian people are our enemies right now. Anyone who is trying to oppress us, anyone who's trying to take away our constitutional rights, and anyone who is allowing the oppressors to use them to do so are enemies of the Bahamian people. Anyone. I want you to think because someone is Christian that they can't be evil. There's evil people in the Bible. There was evil prophets. Let's go to the phone line. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hello?
You're live.
Hello, Mr. Ben?
Yes, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Tyler calling.
Yes.
I was over there on Wednesday.
Thank you so much.
When the policeman grabbed you, I was thinking I grabbed the policeman. When he grabbed you, I grabbed the policeman.
Wow, thank you.
I was trying to get my hand off the policeman, but I didn't even care.
Wow.
But I thank God for you in a special way. Because of you, my eyes open up so wide. I can't believe the things what I'm hearing right now today. I can't believe it. I thank God for you so many times.
Wow.
I will always stick with you till the end.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay.
God bless you. I never thought I would have seen this evil in Philip Brave Davis of what he did to Bahamian people last week. Ladies and gentlemen, fund the movement. We're having a cookout. This can't happen unless you all decide to be in this with us. All right? No one person has enough money to fund any movement. You have them in PLP have to have fundraisers. We're having a cookout on Thanksgiving. Come during the day, buy your tickets, or come on that day and buy your tickets. I'm going to go to the phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Afternoon, President.
Good afternoon.
I want to say something to you. I'm proud of what you're doing and telling my family members are going to vote for you. I believe you will be the next Prime Minister of the Bahamas.
Thank you.
They might try to silence your voice, but every time they silence your voice, I think 30,000 of us tell people about you because I told 30 strangers about you on Thursday. And then Shannon Dawkins right happened to walk in front of me while they was telling 30 strangers about you. And I suggest that everyone get in your car, and if you see someone walking, ask them to listen to Lincoln Bean and give him a chance and understand what he's saying. And that goes for the foreigners listening and the politicians. We will vote for Mr. Bean. Our eyes are open, and nothing you can do. You can try to silence him, but I will speak for him if he's locked up. So please, welcome to Mr. Bean.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. We have to evangelize Bahamas. We have to get the message out there. They can silence the media. They can buy out the media. The media can prostitute themselves, but they can't stop you from speaking. Each one of you, hundreds or thousands of people, spread the message everywhere you go. Don't waste time talking about football. All them done rich. Them fellas straight. Don't waste time talking about LeBron and fighting over Jordan and whoever else. They done rich. Spread the message of the new Bahamas. The Bahamas where Bahamians are first, where we benefit from our natural resources, where we are put first in this country, where every Bahamian is entitled to an acre of crown land. Entitled. And then entitled for whatever amount of crown land they need to do business. Entitled. And they will get grants to do their businesses. Entitled. Where we will benefit from our carbon credits directly. Not using our carbon credits to build roads and buildings, etc. But anyway, please fund the movement. If you want to assist us going to the UN, we have to go to New York. We're going to deal with this. We're not going to take this lying down. Please, you can go to our GoFundMe. Look for Coalition of Independence. It wasn't my name because other people could do stuff. Look for Lincoln Bain, and you can assist us. Please do that. You can also go to our website and you can see the actual GoFundMe there. You can use GoFundMe, or you can fund us directly locally. Just click on donate and you can donate to us. It'll go to us directly, or you can click on GoFundMe if you prefer to do it there, and then you can sponsor us there. And many of you decide to come to the office. We're going to be in the office daily from about 11 to 4. I think tomorrow they're taking the day off. I'm not 100% sure. I'll let them post and let me know what it is they're doing tomorrow. But for the rest of the week, they'll be here. Ladies and gentlemen, we need your help to get this done. This isn't an easy road. We're having a cookout. Well, a cookout. They're calling it Gather for the Feast, Thanksgiving Luncheon. Please support us. Listen, the food was amazing at the last cookout I saw. I've never had good food. I'm not exaggerating. Y'all beat me up if y'all try this food and it ain't good. Like how I brag it. The food I had the last time was amazing a couple of weeks ago. I've never had cookout food taste that good. It was crab and rice then, and listen, I eat that food cold and it was good. So please come and fund and sponsor us. You can call the office number 804-4264 and you can get your tickets, or come to the office, get your tickets, or show up on that day to get your ticket. But it's better for us if you do it in advance. It helps. And so if you want to help sell tickets, you can also do that. Come down and help. Help us get this out. We're just trying to raise funds so that we can do this. Is the COI Women's Alliance that is doing this. The COI Women's Alliance is doing this, and this is going to be on Thanksgiving. It's going to be on Thanksgiving. The tickets are only $15 for Thanksgiving food. I don't know what kind of, this must be charity. Who's get Thanksgiving food $15? The persons are sponsoring, so that's how we're getting some of it. They're sponsoring, all right? So they're keeping the price down because they know a lot of people can't afford it. It's also going to be in Grand Bahama. So it's also in Grand Bahama. They're also going to have a cookout there. So you can reach out to us to get details on that. So in Grand Bahama, they're also going to have, on the same day, they're going to have a cookout. And their prices, I think they're $10. I don't know what's wrong with these people. We need to have a meeting. But anyway, I know things are tough in Grand Bahama, so that's why they're doing that. All right? So, ladies and gentlemen, remember the faces of the persons who were in the car. Remember them. All right? It wasn't called for. Remember them. Official police complaint is gonna be made. An official police complaint is going to be made, and we're going to sue personally. These are also the fellas who lift me up and threw me in the car, along with Officer Stiles, the superintendent. These are them. Who put their hands on me? Just them. So, just them. If someone does something wrong, I fully understand they need to be punished. The police needs to arrest them. We have to call the police when we're in trouble, so we can't judge police officers who do certain things. But these are the ones who drove the car, and they need to explain. It might have been an accident. They need to explain. Let's go to phone lines. Good afternoon, you're live.
Good afternoon, Mr. Bain. Good afternoon, fellow Bahamians. I just wanted to let you know that tonight, as usual, was very educational. I learned a lot. And I also wanted to hear your response from what the Minister of Keith Bell had to say regarding the envelopes that were delivered. And he said that, according to him, the bill had nothing new in it. Like, there was nothing new. And he said that, they're going to, I guess, send it through the natural route that they have to do. But he said once the word gets back and gets to the Attorney General's office, they're going to have to, at least for his words, they're going to have to give the bill, the amendment that was presented to them, they're going to have to give that amendment some deep thought and widespread consultation with the Bahamian people. And I just want to hear what your response is to Bell's response to this amendment bill, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm shocked that we could say that there's nothing new. I mean, so that means to tell the Bahamian people that you all knew that the present immigration laws had loopholes in it, and you didn't care to do anything about it. So I want to hang up now, but I want to hear your response.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. We were gonna play that for y'all. I don't think they had it lined up. Let me see if I could search that quickly for you. Yeah, I was tickled when I saw the way our news is really they've really sold out. So you're not gonna get the real news from them. All right. I don't care how you look at it. They're always gonna twist the story. And so he said that he's talking about us presenting the bill, and what was presented is nothing new. People have been asking for illegal immigrants to stop getting for them to stop getting status in this country because they came here illegal. So that's what he's talking about. That concept is nothing new, but no one has ever done it. All right, no one has ever presented that, and the government has never done anything about that. But what our news printed was that the bill has nothing new. That's how wicked these people are. And that's why we got to be careful of these media that have prostituted themselves. Anytime it's something about us or a story about us, etc., you can be guaranteed that it's not going to be the truth that is published. All right, they're going to twist it in a way that is very deceptive. I want to pull it up for you if I can. Let me just pull it up and then share the screen so you can see this for yourselves. All right, let me see if I can find it quickly. Just give me a second. I'm going to pull it up for you so you can see. Let me see if I'm in the wrong place to find this. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to pull it up for you in a sec. Just give me a sec. Let me just pull it up. Okay, so I'm going to just give me one sec. I want you to see what our news does. They're very deceptive, and I'm calling on you to not even pay attention to them. Don't even watch them. And if you see something that they do or say, put them in their place. Go on their social media and tell them what thus said the Lord. All right? Because they are prostitutes that have sold out. All right? And so stop buying these, the Guardian, our news, all them stuff, owned by Alexio and there's another one who was sold out to Brave and now he's got in position, etc. Tony, what's his name? Anthony Ferguson. Listen, they've sold their souls. And they want to keep things the way it is in this country. These are oligarchs. So watch this. You're looking at the screen now. It says, Immigration Minister weighed in on COI citizenship amendments. It says, the Immigration Minister says citizenship bill presented by Coalition of Independent leader Lincoln Bain has, see it here? Has nothing new. All right? Trying to deceive the people. The bill is actually on our website. It's been there the whole time. Coalitionofindependence.com is right on the front page. So people were asking where they could find it. It's right there. It's been there since I presented it to the Bahamian people. But watch what he says and see how they switched his words. Watch. Commercial first. I'm so sorry. Okay.
The immigration minister also weighing in on that citizenship bill presented. Independence leader Lincoln Bain saying the bill has nothing new before he and a few supporters were arrested this week. Bain's
notice she also said that he said the bill has nothing new. Watch.
Stood outside Parliament presenting envelopes to parliamentarians containing his party's draft amendment of the Bahamas Nationality Act. Bell says the topic calls for consultation.
What he is proposing is nothing new.
Notice what he said. What he is proposing is nothing new. is talking about the fact that Bahamians have always wanted it so that illegal immigrants can't get status in this country. He did not say the bill has nothing new. You see how changing one word can change the whole context? And this is what the media is doing. This is what they did when they showed us out there and said, and they only showed the aftermath of the police action and said we were out there protesting, and they showed the chaos and melee to give people the impression, they did it to give people the impression that we were rebel rousers and we were out there causing trouble. So anyone who did not see it on social media and see the full thing, to see how we were having a great day, the members, the ministers, were collecting them, and they were happy to collect them. Some of them was walking over to see what was where's theirs. They didn't want to get left out. You know, Vaughn Miller called me on the side and had a good conversation with me. All right, Keith Bell waited for his, and we had a good conversation while he was getting his. And he ended up getting the wrong one, and he came back to get the right one with his name on it. There was no issue, but what the media did was try to make it seem like they were having a protest. And look at how it turned into melee. So never follow Lincoln Bean and this crew because they are trouble. It's how they were trying to change the context. And that is what they did again here with this story. So he's not saying that it has nothing new. He's saying that what we are proposing is nothing new because we've people have always been talking about this, but no one had the courage to actually do it. And many activists that talk about a lot of things. No, people have educated you. People have talked about natural resources and all these stuff for years and years. But has anyone ever been willing to fight for it? That's the difference. So let me let you hear it again. Let's go. I like to play the whole thing.
Calls for consultation.
What he is proposing is nothing new. It is something, again, which requires deep thought. In my view, it requires very, very widespread consultation with the Bahamian people to ensure that is something we would want to put into our legislation.
Bell says the bill is now being referred to the Office of the Attorney General.
As you would appreciate, any person in the Bahamas, Bahamians that is, of course, has the right to actually bring or ask their members of parliament to consider a matter of public importance, significance, and in doing that, the appropriate thing to do would be to take it to the Office of the Attorney General. And so once I get feedback from the Office of the Attorney General, then we will review and consider it.
And so all he is saying is that this is something that needs consideration. Bahamians have to determine if that's what they want. I agree with him. All right, but they don't have to go to the Bahamian public. They will make it seem like, oh, let's go to referendum. No, we don't need no referendum for that. We are changing the Nationality Act, which y'all can do. You only won't come to us to change the citizenship laws that we voted against, but you won't come to us to change law to stop illegal immigrants from getting status in this country. That's what y'all will come to us for now? But for stuff we voted no for, y'all are telling us go to hell. We decided wrong. So we couldn't decide on the right thing to do on that. But on this, y'all coming to us. No. They're using an excuse to go to the Attorney General and to leave it there and to let it stall. Now, I also gave it to members of the opposition. Remember, any member of parliament can table a bill. So the question now is, what is Pintard going to do? What is White going to do? He had a lot to say in the House of Assembly. I have no problem with him. I like some of the stuff he was saying. But what is he going to do? What is the other members of parliament going to do? Any member of parliament can table this bill. They don't have to wait on the Attorney General. There's nothing to go to the Attorney General for with this. It's a bill. And you can pass it and modify it on every single level, on every reading, if you want to. But of course, they don't want that. They don't really want this bill in the House of Assembly because both sides have sold us out. But the biggest thing about what you just saw is the fact that they twisted his words. That's what the media is now doing in this country. They tried to make it seem like, oh, ain't nothing was in that. You see how they're doing? The Bahamas, we got to stand up. We got to stand up. Me, pull up the bills for y'all. You pull up the bills. Which one is it? Let me pull this one up. Pull up the original draft. Close that. All right. Let me pull up the bill for you so you can see it for yourself, because some of you haven't seen it. Let me take this phone call and I'm going to pull up the bill. Good afternoon, you're live. Good afternoon, you're live.
Hi, Mr. Dan, how are you?
I am alive. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Listen, I want to know what your stance on what our position is in terms of challenging those citizenships that have been granted based on the Constitution and that new discovered Article 37. What are we going to do with that? Are we going to let that go there, or are we going to let them continue to issue citizenship to the Haitian population?
We have to fight. The only thing we can do is fight. I am doing my part. The question is, are Bahamians ready to fight, or are we going to just let ourselves get flooded? That's what we have to decide as a people. We have to decide if this is important for us. We have one more election where we are going to be in the majority. After that election, and the next 10 years, we are not going to be the majority. We're going to be in trouble. And so,
don't we have enough grounds to take that before the court, or wherever court?
yes, we do, and we're doing the research on that right now. We're doing the legal studies. So when we go with the right precedent. We might have to recall a whole election. So we're looking at everything right now. We're not taking this lightly. So just stay tuned, all right?
Okay, because we don't even need them to be. My thing is, we need to make that publicly known that these people can't be voting in our next election.
Yeah.
If there was a breach of the Constitution, we need to let this government know, don't even try that. You can't sit down and allow them to think that they could pull this one too, because it would be, and they will be at a disadvantage. And like you said, that will be a done deal if we allow them to continue voting in our elections. So we need to really look into that and move with that.
Yeah, if we allow it to continue the way it is, you will have a Haitian prime minister in the Bahamas not the next election, but the election after that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, but just stay tuned.
Okay then.
All right. This is the bill that he said is nothing new. He said it is nothing new. The principle is nothing new, he said. But of course, our news is always going to twist anything related to me. They're only going to show stuff negative related to me. So you have to be careful and pay attention. Don't sponsor them. Don't fund them. Don't pay attention to them. Do not buy the Guardian. If you want to see it, look at it online. Do not give them any of your attention. All right? So here we go. This is the bill. This is the bill set up properly, and you can see this is the way bills are supposed to be set up. It says a bill to amend the Nationality Act to restrain illegal immigrants and children born in the Bahamas whose parents are illegal immigrants from becoming citizens of the Bahamas. All right? Enacted by Parliament of the Bahamas. That's just what you have to put there. 1. Short title and commencement. This act, which amends the Bahamas Nationality Act, may be cited as the Immigration Amendment Act. All right, I'm looking at the wrong version. This is the previous version. This should say the Bahamas Nationality, the Bahamas Nationality Amendment Act. All right, so that's what that should say. This act shall come into force on such date as the minister may appoint by notice published in the Gazette. Amendment of Section 7 of the Principal Act. All right, Section 7 of the Principal Act is amended. 1, by the insertion immediately after, but I won't read the whole thing. Go there and read it. And remember, during my live, I showed you the act and showed you how we would just add in one sentence, one paragraph to make it change. So that Article 7, if you are claiming entitlement under Article 7, and neither of your parents are Bahamian, and if any of them landed in the Bahamas illegally, unlawfully, or at the time of the applicant's birth, his parents had no legal status to be in the Bahamas, that you cannot become a Bahamian. The minister can reject you. All right? And then we amended the second schedule. It says by insertion immediately after Section E, it says that if you were not born in the Bahamas to a parent landed, so if you want to get your citizenship, you have to show that you were not born in the Bahamas to a parent who landed in the Bahamas unlawfully, contrary to Section 20 of the Immigration Act, or to a parent who was in the Bahamas unlawfully. Also, you have to show that he has never landed in the Bahamas unlawfully or entered the Bahamas unlawfully, but at any point stayed in the Bahamas without proper legal status. This would bar any illegal immigrant from becoming a citizen, and therefore you automatically can't run for office in the country if you're not a citizen. All right, so that's the gist of it. It covers a whole gambit of things, and it goes around having to go to the Constitution and make amendments in that way. All right, so that's how that works. All right, so hope everyone understands. And so that's how it works. So we can protect our country that way. All right. So we've done 2.5 hours today. I got to run. I want to thank all of you. I should have taken some of your, let me see. Let me take some of your comments. I see somebody here talking about xenophobic, so that goes against human rights. I'm not sure what they're talking about. So maybe they can repeat what they said, because I wouldn't have seen it from before. I don't know what is xenophobic. But listen, we have a country to protect. We have a country to protect. And that's it, and that's all. In Haiti, they are protecting their nation with their laws. Okay? They're protecting their nation with their laws. You as a foreigner cannot own property in Haiti. You as a foreigner cannot go there, get residency, and run for public office. There's restrictions to that. They are protecting their country. So I don't know how you can accuse us of being xenophobic for wanting to put the laws in place that they have in place in their country. But you keep talking to people if you win. Yes, I will. Of course I will. Let's go to the phone lines. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good night, Mr. Bain.
Good night.
Before you go, I want to know what is happening with the court decision for the shanty town. It's been 4 years, I believe. Are
Yes.
they going to be doing anything, or are they waiting for 10 years?
It's almost 5 years. Well, I can tell you that we have a corrupt system. And what politicians do is they try to make it seem like they want to do something against a certain matter that they know is becoming the talk of the town. And then what they do is tell the person involved to go and get the court order or something to stop them. So we're going to go there and we're going to push against you, but you get the court to push back so that they can use the court as the blame to say it wasn't us, it was the court. So, for example, with the number man, the PLP, they were pushing back on the numbers thing. They were pushing back on it, and they told them, listen, I know, because I spoke to the number man. In fact, I was next to some of them when they had the call. But they told the number man, listen, we're going to push back on you. What to do? Go to Wayne Monroe. Go to Wayne Monroe and then get an injunction. All right, so Flowers had, what's his name? Joshua says, the rest of them at Wayne Monroe. All right, go to Wayne Monroe, get an injunction to stop us. All right, so we're going to make an announcement. We are going to shut down all numbers must close down. And we can make that statement so it looks like we're standing up. But then get the injunction, then we can use that injunction to stop us. And that's exactly what they did. They did the same exact thing with the Shanty Downs. Minas was in power at that time. FNMPLB do the same tricks. And so what they did was Minas made a statement, by December so-and-so, all illegal immigrants must leave the country. And then secretly, they had Fred Smith, who funded the Minas campaign, who funded the FNM. He put out videos for that, to go behind and say, okay, we're going to put an injunction. All right, so it was planned. And you can tell because there was no appeal. In either case, the government never appealed. If the courts put an injunction in place to say the government has no right to break down Shanty Downs, any government in the world would have appealed that and said, oh, hell no. You're not going to tell us that we can't break down Shanty Downs in this country. We are the government. That was Supreme Court. They could have appealed to the Court of Appeal, and then they could have appealed to the Privy Council and then stand down. But no, they didn't want to do that. And so they didn't appeal because that was the judgment they wanted, because now they can lean, and it worked on y'all because y'all didn't really see it. Because now they can say, oh, well, there's an injunction stopping us from doing anything. And that's what they did. Okay? If they wanted, they could have appealed. But that was the judgment they wanted. You understand? And so they use it as an excuse to not do anything with immigration, shut down anything. But now after we started educating the people that, hold on, that injunction is about breaking down houses, and we kept putting it out there, they realized they had to do something. We kept putting pressure and saying it have nothing to do with locking up illegal immigrants. Now they are forced to try to make it look like they're doing something, but they're doing nothing. They hear the cries of people in Harbor Island. You see them there? Trying to deal with what's going on there. The people talking about all the illegal immigrants were there. Coming in there, they just want to make the appearance that they're doing something. Because they had a meeting, and at the meeting they said, man, Lincoln them getting too much traction. Bahamians, they on to us. They said this at their meeting. And so we got to do something. Remember, I announced it. Because after that meeting, we have some patriots who listening in, they can hear their meetings and in their meetings. And they sent a message. And they said, Lincoln, this is what they're going to do next. And I told you that they were going to have this thing in Abaco, but it's going to be a sham. And they kept going. Ladies and gentlemen, wake up. All right, so that was a good question. And so they wanted it this way. That was a protection to put in place so they can make money, a lot of money in the meantime. Since the PLP got in, citizenships like never before. What you call it, work permits, visas, like crazy. The visas allow them to come in, and then they overstay, and then they apply for the extension, and then they apply to get a work permit. That's what they've been doing. All right? So that's what they've been doing. They allow them to get status so that when they do go there in the community to say they're having a raid, they can say, but these people got papers, we can't do nothing with them. Where did they get their papers?
Hello?
Good evening, you're live.
Hey, Mr. Bain.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how you doing?
I'm awesome.
Good. Just want to let you know that we absolutely appreciate what you're doing. And myself, but I hope other Bahamians wake up and see what's going on and join in the fight. One small group of people fighting for the whole Bahamas is not right.
Yeah.
We need to wake up and all fight for us.
Yeah.
And I wanna mention something. I called 2 radio stations concerning the hotel in Freeport that the government is saying they're trying to sell, which makes absolutely no sense. We have Bahamians here who can open that hotel and run it. Then, like the radio stations that goes with the government, and they hung up on me, you know.
Yeah.
Talking about that. You know, I just want to let the Bahamian people know you need to wait to understand that this FNM and PLP government, they are not for Bahamians. Mr. Bain is, you saw him on Facebook being harassed, thrown to the ground, locked up. You know, we need to get together. We need to get it right. One small group of people fighting for all of us is not right. We have to stand up. Thank you, Mr. Bain.
Thank you too, man. I appreciate you. All right. Someone's trying to get in after. You can call back. This is the last call. I'll take you and call back. Person was trying to get in while I was on that call. You can call back. But if you want to see this happen, listen, it's going to take a valiant effort to get this done. We're going to need you. All right. So we're going to need your funding, your support, and everything else to get this done. All right. So we need your assistance. Good afternoon. You're live. Okay, we lost them. You can call back in. It'll give you a second to get back in. We'll give you a second to get back in, and we're going to sign out. So you can try again one more time. Good afternoon. You're live.
Good day, Mr. Bain.
Yes.
Well, thank the Lord. It's so good to see you, man.
Good to hear from you too, man.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to know in reference to the appeal. Is it too late for the government to appeal?
Um, yeah, the time to appeal might have been gone, but remember, the judge didn't say they couldn't break down. The judge said that they have to come to her first, but they don't want to go to her. So they are playing with your minds. All she said was, come to her first. So,
do you have an idea how long the time you have before you can appeal?
6 weeks.
An injunction. How long?
6 weeks.
Well, that's like in the same years now.
Yeah, but again, like I told you, they can file something else, or all they have to do is file to go to her and say that this has been building up, because she put a clause in there to say that they can't build any new developments. They can't do anything new and they can't renovate. She put that in there. So they can go before her, but they're not going to do this, They can go before the judge. Sorry, I couldn't hear you because I was talking.
No, I'm saying all those new homes they build since the injunction was in place. I mean, they can knock those down.
Yes, they can. So she didn't say they can't knock it down, but they use that as an excuse because they don't want to knock it down. All they have to do is go to her and say, listen, these ones built since the injunction. Let's break. So it was 50 acres. It's now 200 acres. We could break down this 150 acres. But guess what? They ain't gonna do that. They playing with the ignorance of the Bahamian people.
Because I remember a case that I think it was last year before last, a lady in Don Norwich, they put up a free office, I think in Don Norwich, and the people at the Ministry of Works have given them notice that they will have to sit under structure.
Yes.
So how could it be that Bahamians, or you put a wall up without a permit, they want to knock down your wall? I mean,
yes.
How come we seem to be on no right?
Yeah. So that's how it is in the Bahamas, and that's why we're trying to make this change. And some people saying, no, we want power, we want this, we want that. Yeah, we only want power for the Bahamian people, man. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, Mr. Danford, it's so nice to see you and Charlotte and Cara. Everybody's out and doing well, and God got your back. That's your
Thank you, man.
The fight is not yours.
Thank you.
It's the Lord's fight, and as the people of the Bahamas fight, I hope God open the eyes of the Bahamian people and open their hearts to your messenger and the message of COI. God bless you and keep you.
God bless you too, man. It's going to take all of us to get this done. It's going to take all of us spreading the message. A wealth of information is on our website. The documentaries are there. Other stuff is there. My lives are right there. And I know it takes a lot, these 2-hour lives, and I know there's a lot to go through. But if you want to save this country, that's the only way. All right? There's a lot of education. We've been miseducated for the last 60 years. We've been miseducated. We've been fooled. We've been lied to. And so this is a lot of material to get out there to Bahamian people. And I can't do this in 5-minute clips. We have to educate you. We have to show you. All right? And so it's going to take long. You can encourage your family members to watch every Tuesday and Sunday. That's why I do this. It takes a lot of work to do this, but I do this. We've been consistent every single week, a couple times a week for about 3 years now. I've been going live every single week with new information, new material. That's how much information it is. That's how much material it is. That's how much it is to get educated. And we have not even scratched 1% of 1% of the information that we do have. You will see it. Every week I come with something new and I leave out so much stuff. I need to have 20-hour lives every single day for the next 10 years to drop all the information that we really have out there about how Bahamians have been robbed in this country, how these same PLPs and FNMs. We have documents sitting out there. I have documents right here. I've been trying to get to you all about these focal and all this kind of stuff and other deep information that we've gone into and dug up and found some stuff. Listen, we got so much. We got so much. But listen, all that isn't important, You know what's important? You already know. The FNM and PLP is the same thing. They just need to go. And we need a reset. Well, this is the great reset. And it's time for change. It's time for change. So people may say that, oh, we need special Bahamians and people are only going to vote for who they know. If you want to vote for who you know, then you're going to stick with the same thing you've always been getting. That's on you. I have no intention on sticking with that. I want something different. I want something new. I have an PLP thing. Okay, you all did well. You made yourself rich. You tricked us. It was good. You lied to us. You deceived us. I hope you didn't make enough money. You didn't make billions. Yo, man, let the baby people eat, man. Let us eat. We hungry too. We want some of the pie too. We want the natural resources too. Why y'all fighting this? Don't fight. Your children will benefit from this too. Yeah, you're an oligarch. You could be even richer because now you have more people with more money to spend with you. Think. Yo, let's fight for this change, eh? Let's get the message out. Let's get the word out. It can only happen if we do this together. Yo, please stand with me. Please stand with me. We're going to bring this change and we're going to make this happen. All right? So someone asked me a question. Last thing I'll address before I go. Someone said, okay, Lincoln, we need to know what candidates you have. We need to know, we know you. We know we depend on you. We know you'll be a great new generation leader. We need to know the people who are behind you and that kind of stuff. Listen, one thing you do not do in politics is reveal your candidates too early. No political party does it. You don't know who the FNM is going to run next time or the PLP. You don't reveal your candidates too early because they're going to start trying to pick them off. They're going to start either trying to destroy them or buy them out. And so you cannot put your candidates out there early. And so what we're doing is what you do in politics. You build your branches. And it's for your branch to go in the community and get the message out, get the word out. If someone wants to run, they come and they participate with the branch. Hopefully there'll be someone who lives in that community. You don't have to be with this. Hopefully there's someone who lives in the community and they go there and work with the branch. Then what it does, it gives the branch a time to work with those persons who want to run in that community and then say, okay, we like this one, not that one. This one, he's only talk. He ain't really getting nothing done. Or this one, we always see him talking to Brent Simonet. We ain't know but him. Or this one, I believe he would brave. But the branch would be able to say from a ground standpoint, this person will be good for that community. We've walked with them and seen them. But we can't put our candidates out there too early. We have a lot of people who have been reaching out to us from all walks of life. And I can assure you that we will have the change that we need. But what do we need? We don't need the old guard. We need a new crew like Pinland. Their crew was broke. You see them now and you know them now, but at that time, that's why most people didn't vote for the PLP. Because they didn't know them. They were unknowns at the time. They were regular people, musicians and carpenters and teachers, and they were regular people. A couple of lawyers who were not real lawyers in people's mind. Like, yeah, Pinland is a lawyer. Yeah, he went to England, but he ain't never do no real law. He never practiced no real law. He's like Obama. He never really had a job, a real job. Never run a business. But they were the people who brought the change. They did well for 10 years before they became corrupt. We need real people who are ready to come and take this country and let us benefit. We have the civil servants in place who can get the job done. Some we're going to have to replace if they are corrupt. We have a whole world out there willing to assist us in getting this done. We don't have to rewrite the template. We don't have to rewrite the template. There are people, there's people around the world who have done everything that we are proposing to do. Everything. Dubai, etc., all over the world. Anything you want to do, there's someone who's already done it. Sovereign Wealth Fund Act, a good one. Norway has it. Dubai has it. Alaska has it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's being done. Who will invest the money so that we could flip it before we give it to the Bahamian people? All right. Dubai has done it. Norway has done it. All of these countries have done it. Turks and Caicos is doing it. Turks and Caicos now has their sovereign wealth fund. And within a few months, they had $80 million in it. When this new government took over, they was able to give everyone in Turks and Caicos a check for $2,000, a boost, when they took over during the pandemic. Right away, $2,000, everyone. Everyone go love yourselves. Hold on that, and then be coming back. It was from the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Why Bahamas always last? Turks and caicos have it. What we got? More ways to make politicians rich. Chester Cooper, you're bragging about all these investments in Exuma. You are pushing investments to Exuma because you want to be prime minister, right? More of these slavery jobs and giving away all our land in Exuma, all our crown land, etc. But some people will be impressed with that because they are from the old mindset. Say $1.2 billion. Chester Cooper, there was a young lady in Long Island who had a deal ready to go, 100 acres of land, 100 acres. Investor working, deal and sign. Just had to put it forward. Just had to move forward, finalize this thing. It would make a Bahamian very wealthy. Chester, you went to the investor and told the investor, leave that woman alone. Come do it in Exuma. I can make sure you straight. We got some land in crown land in Exuma. The land was owned by a Bahamian. They would have benefited, partnered. But it's too much for Bahamians to own anything in this country. A Long Islander would have partnered with them because she had the land. They had the money and the vision. You grabbed them, Chester. You are an evil, slimy rat for doing that to a Bahamian. And you told them to come to Exuma, you, Chester, and invest there and give them our crown land so that you could have another investment or make it look like you have investments over there. I'm going to deal with the other side of it. That's wrong. That's how you all treat Bahamians. But we coming to take this country back, Chester. Y'all could brag all y'all want about giving away our land and making more opportunities for slavery and building more plantations. But change is coming, and change is here. We could be bragging about how much Bahamians doing billion-dollar investments. And how we formed a company and let Bahamians buy in it. Why are you selling the hotel in Grand Bahama? That's an opportunity. Like Dubai did with Nakil, their company. Just go into tourism. Let Bahamians buy shares into it. We are the hoteliers of the world. We are the best. We got all the experience. Why would you sell that hotel? Renovate it. Let Bahamians buy into it. And let's make this happen. But no, y'all don't want Bahamians benefit from nothing. That's too good for us, right? Yeah. But I want you to know change is right at your doorstep. And new Bahamas is upon us. And we can own the cruise ships. We can be bragging about how much cruise ships in port. We can be bragging about how much cruise ships we own as a people. And Bahamians will have shares in that. It will go into our sovereign wealth fund. You don't even have to let Bahamians buy shares in that hotel. Put it in our sovereign wealth fund and then give us our checks. Let's buy cruise ships. Y'all borrowing for all this stuff? Borrow and buy some cruise ships. And have these cruise ships all over the Caribbean, in Europe, and let's make money from that. Chester Cooper, you and Brave Davis, all of y'all, your days are numbered. Your days are numbered. All right? So you are in the PLP that is now run by traders to the PLP. Brave Davis left the PLP. Brave Davis left the PLP. When Ingram and Christie was fired, Brave Davis left with them. Y'all didn't know that, eh? Me and him talk about that. Brave Davis left with them. That's why after that, he could have never really get a good position in the PLP, you know. Only after Pinlin died, Brave left, and he was campaigning with them. Fred Mitchell, he was an F&M senator. He was fighting against the PLP in Finland. Fred Mitchell, who's now talking about me, see, I didn't even respond to his nonsense, right? But Fred Mitchell, who was talking about me in a voice note, Fred Mitchell burned the Constitution of the Bahamas. Burn our Constitution. He talking about we doing stuff for attention. We out of order. He burned the Constitution of the Bahamas. Who wanted power? Fred. Who wanted to get voted in? Fred. Who wanted to be Prime Minister? Fred. What I want Bahamians empowered, and that's it. Who wanted to be Prime Minister? Brave. Everything he did was to be Prime Minister. So Fred and Brave, who were traded to the PLP, now running the PLP. And Chester, who was an F&M, now running the PLP. Y'all see why they ain't checking for y'all? Wake up. So Fred Mitchell, I was going to respond to your little voice note, you know. But I can end with this. Fred Mitchell. Fred Mitchell. Back Road Exchange. That was a video store. That was a video store. Remember Back Road Exchange in Robinson Road back in the day? It had a special room in it. It had a special secret hidden room. It was a hidden room in the Back Road Exchange. There was a young, underage boy named Marvin who used to work in there. Fred Mitchell. What used to happen in that hidden room? Answer me, or sue me, or have me arrested. What happened, what used to happen in that hidden room? Come back for me, Fred. See, I don't want to waste time dealing with you because we got a country to save and build. But I know plenty. Don't come for me. Fred Mitchell, you are a sodomite. That is what you are. As in the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. You are a champion sodomizer. And I say that because you have sodomized this country. You and yours have sodomized this country. You have raped and robbed the Bahamian people. You have sodomized the Bahamian people. Fred Mitchell, you are a champion sodomizer. And you need to stand down. You need to get out of government, traveling the world. You turned our Ministry of Foreign Affairs into a hen house. Fred Mitchell. We need real change. Enough of y'all. Fred, when you do your next little video clip that you do in the morning, explain to us what used to happen in that room, that hidden room in Back Road Exchange. I don't know if you're all tired, but I'm tired. I'm tired of these old political tricks and this old nonsense. I'm tired. Either we going forward, or I said I don't have time to waste. If you all want to continue to make Fred Mitchell and Rican and make them, Fred Mitchell, you ever had a real job in your life? You are a career politician and you use politics to get money to attract men. Fred Mitchell, you've never run a business in your life. You've never done nothing but be Minister of Foreign Affairs. Minister of Sodomite Affairs is what you are. And we've had enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, if this is not a laughing matter, we in trouble. We in trouble. Fred, tell them who the underage boy Marvin was and what he used to serve you in that hitting room. Until then, don't call my name in your mouth again. All right, Fred? All right. And Marvin ain't gay, he's straight. But you? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in today. We did another 3 hours today. I'm sorry I had to go so long, but we had to get some things out there. I needed you to know your rights. I needed you to know what's going on. Again, I'll end by saying, nothing I said today was to convince you of the guilt or innocence of anybody, including myself or anyone involved in any court case. Nothing was there to prejudice any court case or make you have a different decision about a court case. No, don't take any of that. It was just discussing stuff that was already in the news and already discussed. And that's that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for tuning in as always. We're going to see you on Tuesday with more information, more education. And hopefully by then, Fred Mitchell would have told us about that secret room that was in the Back Road Exchange on Robinson Road. All right. Hopefully he can tell us what was in that secret room and what happened in that secret room. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to see you next time. We love you all. Please come for your tickets. The Women's Association, we need your help. Go to our website or go directly to GoFundMe. Look for Coalition of Independence with my name. Or go to our website and you can fund us directly or through our GoFundMe. Either way, or you can come to our office and you can fund us. The office is going to be open tomorrow. The office is open tomorrow from 11 to 4. The office is open tomorrow from 11 to 4. All week from 11 to 4, we're going to be here. And so make sure you are there. All right. So be careful of Fred Mitchell. Guard your young men from deceitful older men who may lead them astray. And who may lead them into the back door. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for tuning in. We love you. We're doing this for you. You all stay tuned. The fight continues. See you on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, it will be Talk That. They have a good, exciting one this week. All right. We are going to stand up and we need you to stand with us. Don't leave us out there to fight for ourselves. This fight is for all of us. And it's only going to happen if all of us fight. We're going to leave you, of course, with a couple of videos that we hope can wake you up and remind you that we need a serious, serious change in this country or we're in trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason for the trouble we're in is because of this right here.
Let me just say that I have always been a part of this community. And there's no accident I know how to do all the dancing. Because I always be and share with you. Because you are me and I am you. Yes, sir. And I'll be here with you always. And those who knew me from the past and know me now, they always knew that I was there and always been there for you. I don't call you all, no, you all are not Haitians, Bahamians. You are Bahamian, and your origin is Haitian. Mine too, and many of us. We have to stay apart for now so we can be together later. In on now.
Are you all ready?
I don't know how you did this in 50 years. You look at history. Who does this? Show me anybody else that has done this in 50 years. I'm waiting. Show them to me. This wasn't done by money. Money doesn't produce visions. Visions produce money. You've had leadership over here that were visionaries, great visionaries, and their vision was more about the people than the money, because you can't accomplish this in 50 years without loving your people first, because the people are the ones that's benefiting from this. Look at your health care. Look at your road system. Look at your highway system. Look at your airports. Who does this in 50 years? But who benefits? You're going to care about those people. It's something to be learned about what's been done over here that could be duplicated in the world, because there's people with this much money. You just don't have people with this much love for their people.
You know, a lot of people wonder how Dubai became a very big, famous and rich city.
You see, if you're comparing with Nigeria, listen to this. Nigeria has oil before than Dubai. It's a history. They are more rich than us. They have agriculture, they have mining, they have everything, you name it, they have it. Am I right or wrong? When you have a true leadership, which we have nothing, but we have everything because we have the right leadership. That's the only thing you need, a right leader for your country, not corruption. That's what brings your country at the top. You don't need anything. We want water, we don't have agriculture, we don't have mining.
That's quite interesting.
And that's Sheikh Mohammed. Number one, he doesn't know number two, he needs only number one. He says, I don't know, there's no number two in my book. Only number one.
I hear he doesn't ride in a convoy.
Close to the road and I said, let me ramble through the bush to come take a look at it. You must be fixing something on it. Look at the size of this crane. Bahamas, just look. Now that come to dig out around here. My God, look at the size of that bucket. That bigger than the biggest dump truck you have ever seen, the bucket of that. Lord, Mr. Prime Minister, you don't think Bahamian people deserve nothing what the screen is doing to us? This will be here for the next generation digging. My Lord, look at the size of this crane. Wow, this the size, this bigger than a building. This bigger than a building. They got to have kitchen and bath. They got kitchen and sleeping quarters got to be on the crane. All of that is engine. My Lord, that's a humongous size. Come to finish, eat our lands and we get nothing. This is Warren Miller was talking with all the billions of dollars. What the company making in Grand Bahama, that's the crane right there which is responsible for it. This could eat a whole island, a whole key. My Lord, Bahamian people, look at the size of this crane. Whew. Reporting live from Grand Bahama. Look at the size of this crane. My Lord.